Okay, well, would you read our book so you can understand my arguments? Would you be willing to do that?
I mean, I'm a very busy person, to be honest. But I don't know how the corporate or the structure of organized New Hampshire works. I have no idea.
Would you like to wear a hidden camera and expose it?
No.
Well,
that's why you're evil. That's why you're evil.
Why am I the worst?
You want to sit down and explain that?
You can just talk to me. Yeah, tell me why I'm the worst. No, it's okay. No, come on.
No, because you guys discredit the people who are actually trying to make real change.
How so? How so? Here, come on. Sit down. Let's talk.
You guys spread fake news.
Here's your microphone.
Yeah.
Here's some headphones for you if you'd like.
Yeah, no, it's all right. Yeah. So what do we do? What's wrong with Project Veritas?
You guys are a right-wing corporate media or corporate counter-media organization that discredits real sources of information and media to try and cloud the waters to stop real change from happening.
So give me an example of how we're right-wing or disinformation.
You guys did that shit a while back where you did those videos discrediting Planned Parenthood where you doctored footages.
Well, give me an example of how we doctored it.
Like this was a huge news story at the time. You guys changed the footage to make it look like really graphic in a way that it really wasn't.
Where was I disagree with you. If federal judges have all said that our footage is not out of context or selectively edited. We've won every lawsuit that we've litigated. Can you give me
just because you weren't arrested for doing something illegal doesn't mean you didn't do it. Just because you can point to some court cases that you won on specific cases doesn't mean that you guys haven't done it in other cases where you haven't been prosecuted for it.
Okay.
Because what you're doing, whether or not it's illegal, is deeply immoral.
Like how so? How is it immoral to expose what people are saying in their own words?
The thing that actually makes change, that makes positive change in this world, is people having face-to-face conversations, people doing grassroots organizing. And this is the opposite of that.
So when Charlie Chester at CNN says, we're fear, we're propaganda, we tried to get Trump out, when he's saying that they're a propaganda network, his words, this is CNN's control room director, and we expose what he's saying, isn't that a good thing for society to expose what these media journalists are saying, that they're lying to the people?
Again, you're at best misquoting them.
How so?
Again, I don't know what you're referencing. What you're doing is taking specific quotes that no one's heard of and then being like, look at this quote, it's bad, isn't it? No, but first of all, it's deflection.
Right.
You're not actually addressing my point, which is the damage you're doing to actual progressive grassroots. What you guys do is corrupt the open forum with corporate money to prevent real change.
So okay, I don't agree with you. We have tens of thousands of individual donors who give us a little bit of money. We don't have any advertisers. CNN, the New York Times.
Just because you have a bunch of people that you've duped into being radicalized by your right-wing propaganda, and they paid you a little bit of money.
What about me as right-wing?
You can ignore the real people who are funding the mass majority of what you do, which is a very small amount of rich corporate individuals who are doing this to maintain a status quo where they have power.
So that's an accusation you've made about me that's not true. No corporation or rich person tells me what to do. We have tens of thousands of individual donors who have nothing to do with our news gathering.
You're covering up the important thing here, which is you're also taking large amounts of money from wealthy individuals. And you could say they're not telling you what to do, but if someone pays me a lot of money if there's a system built that pays people who do what you do a lot of money and doesn't pay people who do real grassroots progressive journalism,
what is real grassroots?
Because that system is broken, and you are an artifact of that broken system.
I would consider what I do grassroots progressive journalism. We exposed here in New Hampshire, a Republican voted twice. He voted twice. That was a nonpartisan investigation.
But you're trying to use that as to claim that more generally voter fraud is an issue and therefore we should disenfranchise black and brown voters, lower income voters, by making voter ID laws more strict, when in fact the mass majority of people who do commit voter fraud is Republicans, but it's also such a small percentage of people, and they do get caught the mass majority of time, that what you're actually doing by implementing things like voter ID laws is restricting the rights of poor people and of black and brown and other.
Should we not expose the voter fraud when it happens? Should we not release videos of that?
You could say that every time there's a shark attack, you could have a news press on the shark attack, but you don't, right? It's a big story, but you are choosing to cover specific things to make a narrative. You're specifically covering the very small instances of voter fraud to project in people's mind that this is a bigger issue than it is, because you know that that is an issue that people use to disenfranchise people who don't agree with you.
I mean, how is exposing a guy saying I voted twice disenfranchising anybody?
Did I not just explain this? It's not. What you're doing is making the people who follow you, the people who believe in the stuff that you say, you're telling all of them that this is a problem. Look, people are doing this. This is a common thing because people are naturally biased to what they see.
In Minneapolis, Minnesota in 2020, there was a bunch of Somali immigrants who came to us, and they talked about all the thousands of ballots that were harvested and illegally, collected, and we released that information. Should we not do that? What should a journalist do in that situation?
You know those sources of information are at best highly dubious.
How so?
Almost every single account of voter fraud or ballot harvesting that has happened in the 2020 election has been disproved by any
experts?
Literally
experts?
Any expert.
Who are these experts?
Yeah, sure. You could say that, the whole system of experts and fact-checking is broken, and therefore Trump did actually win, but you're living in a fantasy land.
That's not what I said. I asked you who the so-called experts are, because I was
literally
there.
There's been no fact-checkers.
Well, we sued the New York Times for defamation after they said that our voter fraud expose in Minnesota was
fake.
defaced.
Because it was.
And we got past motion to dismiss, and we're currently winning that defamation lawsuit. So the experts you speak of are losing in court. They're losing in court in New York State.
I think you're going to lose that case, because I think you might, and if you do win that case, it's because they made certain claims about you that were untrue on the edges, while the core, that your actual account that thousands of voter ballots were harvested, is for sure untrue. For sure.
How do you know that?
Because
with such certainty, when the source is in Minneapolis, we have a videotape of a ballot literally being exchanged for money. You can see the money passing the hands.
You can fake that so easily, and there was so much incentive to.
Interesting. So you're saying
the people who happen to come to you also happen to be like the socioeconomic group that needs the money. Like, no. That is for sure.
So when Raquel Rodriguez in Texas was arrested for what she said to us, you're saying that was fake or staged?
I think that at best you have found people who are delusional.
So you think that this woman on tape,
again, you're trying to put words in my mouth. I'm saying that in general. You were talking about Minnesota. You just switched the subject.
Let's go back to Minnesota. So this guy says on tape, we break the law, it is illegal, nobody cares, nobody finds out. All of these video recordings of all of these people saying these things.
You can get anyone to say anything.
Okay, so they're not telling the truth.
They are for sure. There's so many levels of bullshit that is going on here that you're using to convince people that a person who lost a democratic election should be in power to fully gaslight the American people into believing your political opinions.
I didn't make that claim, and what I'm saying is the reporting I'm sorry?
Shame on you.
Why should I be ashamed of quoting people in their own words? Isn't that what journalists are supposed to do? Disenfranchising.
You're picking out certain voices.
Disenfranchising people of color. My press secretary, who happens to be black. RC, please come talk to this fine young man. Come over here.
I have someone in my group is black. Therefore, what I'm doing isn't racist.
He's talking about racism, and no. Just how does that corrupt our editorial?
Well, if you
process?
take a bunch of rich people's money, and then you do things that are good for rich people, what is there not to get there?
What have we done of our exposés this year exposing the FBI. Are you familiar with the FBI and the ACLU defending Project Veritas? No, I'm
ACLU is a great example.
They just defended us.
The ACLU is... Sorry, what?
They just defended us when the
I'm sure-
FBI raided my home, and the FBI.
Because the ACLU is a law organization. If the FBI does something that has bad precedent,
Right.
they'll defend you even if they politically disagree with you. That's how great the ACLU is. Not in any way a credit to you guys.
So how is exposing the FBI and pharmaceutical companies, and the New York Times guy contradicting himself, and the Department of Defense DARPA documents showing that gain of function?
Because how you do it every time.
How does
even
that
if it's something
benefit
that should
rich
be-
people?
even
How
so-
does that benefit rich people? That's a serious question. Because they came to my
Because you're
house.
pointing to specific examples of ways that you think that you've hurt certain peoples at power, but the people who fund you want you to spread a message.
How do you know that? You're ascribing motive to people without any evidence. Because I know the truth.
Because
how do you know?
You know the truth. That's the worst
I do
part.
know the truth.
I don't have to.
I do know the truth.
Because you should know of all people. You're the one who knows all the people who donate to your organization.
I do.
Knows
There's
exactly how corrupt the thing you're a part of is.
There's 100.
And you still insist on defending it. That's astounding to me.
So I was jailed in Louisiana. The U.S. attorneys who came after me resigned in disgrace.
My resignation as United States Attorney for the Eastern District of Louisiana will take place.
The FBI came to my home, put me in handcuffs, and took my stuff and issued gag orders on Microsoft, Apple, and Google. I have trillion-dollar companies. The wealth you speak of, the power you speak of, the powers that be, the billionaires, are trying to shut me down, take me out, and incarcerate me. And I got 100,000 independent people donating money with no editorial control over what I do. And you're saying I'm corrupt. I'd like to ask you why.
I went over this so many times.
And I'm asking you again.
Let's go over it again.
Yeah, please
From
do.
Square one.
Yeah, square one. Answer what I just said.
Because
billion-dollar corporations are spying on us.
Billion-dollar corporations, ones that ultimately see how f***ed up you are, and are like,
but
hey,
these are the richest people. These are Apple, Google, Microsoft.
They probably said
these are the billionaires.
Disinformation or something. I don't know the story. I truly don't know the story.
Okay, if you don't know the
you're giving
story,
me half a story and saying, "What do you think of my half a story?"
Why don't you read the
Congratulations,
story?
I can't reply to your half
Why
story.
don't you
what
read
I
the
can
story?
Point to is all the other instances where you have defended the through line of the rich and powerful, where you have pretended that voter fraud is this huge issue, where you have gone after Planned Parenthood.
That's not true.
When you have gone after other important organizations, just because you did, even if you did do one or two good things, and I don't know because I truly am unfamiliar with the story you are referencing, that doesn't excuse the bad things. Or you can't just because you did a good thing doesn't mean you didn't also do a bad thing. And the things you're doing are mostly bad.
When you say mostly bad, you're referencing the Planned Parenthood investigation and the voter fraud we exposed in Minnesota?
Those are two examples.
Why
two
is
of
it
many.
bad to expose what someone is saying out of their own mouth? Isn't that okay? Well, would you read our book so you can understand my arguments? Would you be willing to do that?
I mean, I'm a very busy person, to be honest.
But you've spent a good 45 minutes.
I spend
Who do you work for? Who pays you?
I do work for the Democratic Party.
The party, the political party pays you?
Or Organize New Hampshire, which is associated.
Okay, so the Democratic Party in New Hampshire, and do they have donors?
I don't know. That's such a good argument because my boss has donors. All right.
Me, why are you saying?
Sorry, I shouldn't have said that.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
But does your organization have donors? The Democratic Party of New Hampshire? Do the corporate people work for corporations?
I'm not in any way connected to that organization. I'm a campus organizer.
You just said you're a paid organizer. Who pays you?
Dude, we just went over this.
Who pays you?
This is whataboutism. You're like, look, you also are somehow participating in capitalism. The organization I work for.
Do they have donors?
I don't know how the corporate or the structure of Organized New Hampshire works. I have no idea.
Would you like to wear a hidden camera and expose it?
No.
How about
that's why you're evil. That's why you're evil.
How about be brave and expose them? Expose the evil corporate donors.
Because you would never do that to the Republican Party because you exist for the Republican Party do that to the Democratic Party because you're evil.
We have undercover people.
Shame on you.
We have undercover people on the Republicans too. Why don't you come to the speech tonight? Come to the speech tonight, 6 o'clock. I know you're a busy, man. We're speaking in 30 minutes at Moore Hall. I'll see you there.
Stuff to do. I don't know.
Okay.
We'll keep going.
Okay.
You know exactly how you're wrong. You're asking these questions. You're feigning ignorance because you know how fucked up what you're doing is.
I don't. I think it's morally right and necessary. And the First Amendment of the Constitution
Somewhere
agrees
in that
with me.
brain, you know there's some level of cognitive dissonance that you're running away from.
Nope.
That you know that these things don't add up.
I think
but that I still gotta keep doing the thing I'm doing. There's no way. And if that is the case, that's way worse for you, man. You really need to like introspect and like look over your own beliefs and opinions, because oh my God, that
I feel like I'm making your head explode.